Hi, everyone. It's Coach Crystal, and welcome to the next episode of the Get Crystallized Show. And like crystals, strong women are made under pressure. And I am so excited because today I have an amazing guest. Her name is Sara Jimenez, and I hope I said her name correctly. She is a certified life coach, a mother of one, a wife of 6 years, and she is a Jesus seeking woman of God, which I love. Amen to that. Sara's life purpose is to help mamas who want to rediscover themselves while intertwining their dreams and desires with motherhood. She has personally walked through that identity crisis and is passionate to help other women rediscover balance in their life and to live out all the incredible things that they were created for. And today I am super honored because she is going to be sharing her 4 tips to stay focused and balanced in a world full of distractions. So without further ado, can we please give a round of applause to Sara? Welcome to the Get Crystallized Show.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Oh, me too. I really love your life purpose. And a lot of my audience and a lot of my ladies are mamas who have lost themselves, especially during this crazy pandemic crisis uncertainty in the past 24 months. And this is the perfect time to talk about how to stay focused, and how to find that balance. So let's just jump right in. And if you don't mind also sharing a little bit of your story, because you said in your bio that you personally went through an identity crisis. So if you can talk a little bit about that, and then we can jump into your tips.
Yeah, absolutely. Long story short, I guess. So I had my son Roman at the end of 2018, and we go through that season of just shifting and changing, and our bodies are different, our hormones are kind of all over the place, and really kind of my job position changed. I went from a full-time supervisor and manager, and I was in leadership for years at my job, to now a part-time vault clerk is basically what I do now. And so I stepped out of leadership. I stopped working full time. Like, I was now in charge of keeping this little human alive. And that was a lot, And so what happened was, at some point in my journey of motherhood, I took on, and this is not that it's a bad thing, but I took on that hot mess mom identity. And I was like, well, this is the way it is now. Like, everything's just a mess. My life is going to feel chaotic. This is just how life is now going to be, because I'm a mother. And that's how I'm going to rock the mom bun and do all the things, wear sweatpants all day and not shower. And it kind of just, I took it to an extreme. And I realized it took me a little while, it took me about a year and a half in, I realized that, oh my gosh, like, this is not serving me. In fact, it's making me frustrated, because this is not who I am. I like to get dressed. I like to get ready. I like to feel good about myself. I like to do all of these things. And I've taken on this identity that's completely kept me from crushing goals. It's kept me from really being who I truly am as a person, and that I don't need to be caught up in this identity, and it's not who I am, and it's not good for me. So basically what I had to do is, and there was a lot of things leading up to that, but when I really realized that I had kind of engulfed this new identity, and that I had to kind of step out of that and really evaluate, okay, who am I? Who do I want to be? And not just as a mother, but who is Sara? And what has God placed in me naturally, and in my personality, and in the things that I want to do in my lifetime? What is he placed within me, and how do I get there, and how do I become that person? And so it was a process, and it's an ongoing process, I believe, truly, because we go through different seasons of motherhood. But it really was it was insane kind of how it all unfolded. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I need to do something about it. And that's kind of where my journey began.
It's so relatable because I just a couple of weekends ago, it was my sister-in-law's son's birthday, and I bumped into an old friend who has two young kids, and she was literally rocking that hot mess identity. And she's like, I don't know who I am anymore. My life revolves around my kids. I'm going crazy. And so there's so many women who can relate. And I love the fact that you asked yourself, who am I? What is like my God-given talents? What is my purpose? And separated from being a mom. Like, of course, that is a gift. That is a blessing. That's a job in itself, a gift from God that you're a mom, but you are also other things.
Absolutely.
And so I love that you had, taken the moment to pause and ask yourself those really, really important why questions.
Yes, it was definitely, it was, man, I remember I remember that season like it was yesterday, and it was crazy because, you don't realize how far into an identity that you can be that you're like, whoa, this is not good for me.
Yes.
And yes, motherhood is a blessing in so many ways, but God also, he didn't create me just to be a mom.
So then how did you and this kind of, goes into this wonderful topic that we're talking about today. How do you then, you're experiencing the hot mess, you've lost your identity. How then do you narrow in, stay focused, find that balance when there are a lot of distractions, including all of your responsibilities as a mom, or maybe, like you said, you are a lot of our women are career working women and also running a household and raising children and all the things. So where do we begin?
So, I think recognizing it, and I want to talk on a couple like specific things today. But this is part of what I do coaching on, and it goes very in depth, but we'll start with just kind of some basics. So first, you want to pause and you want to just evaluate kind of, where you're at, where you want to be, and kind of just, evaluate all the different areas in your life, your faith, where's the balance in your faith? How's your family life doing? How are your finances doing? Are you having fun in your life? Do you hang out with friends? Like, are you doing things that make you happy and that are going to, all in balance? My biggest thing with coaching is, okay, let's evaluate what's going on in your life. What is out of balance? So what can we really narrow in and kind of focus on so that we know we have a direction to start, right? So I would definitely say pausing and really just evaluating, okay, am I who I currently want to be? Like, I know I'm a mother, I know I'm a wife, but who am I? Like, what am I doing right now that brings me joy, that is, utilizing the talents and gifts that God has given me? And am I working towards those things, or am I kind of just trying to survive day to day as this hot mess and hoping that by the end of the day, the laundry will be done and and that not everything will be, crazy in my household and in my life. And, trying to balance all those things. Like you said, I'm a working mom. I run my own business outside of my hourly job. And then I have a husband who works full time and who goes to school full time. And then I have this human that I'm keeping alive and trying to entertain. So there's a lot of different things I have, personally, that I've had to learn how to juggle while also focusing on, okay, like, let's evaluate where am I at with the fun in my life? Do I have that? Where's my faith walk? How is that? That's very important to me. Mm-hmm. But am I actually making it an intentional decision to recognize where am I in that? And what steps am I taking to be better in that walk?
Great first step, because I'm sure that all the busy working moms, like, pause. What does that even mean? Rest? Sleep? What's that?
Yes.
Actually pause and give yourself a minute to breathe and figure out what do you want is a really, really good place to start. Awesome.
Yeah. So pausing. Oh my gosh. Like, taking a day of rest for me was probably one of the hardest things to do. I did not realize up until this year that I am borderline a workaholic. And I didn't know that until this year. I was like, whoa, that's intense. But that's just because I'm always been a go person. That's who I've always been. So I've had to really step back, pause, and say, okay, let's evaluate all the things. And, I don't want to be a workaholic and stressed out. And I want to be effective in what I do, but I also want to be, and integrating that with motherhood. I want to be a present mother. I want to be a present wife. I want to enjoy this life that I've been given and not just hustle towards that next thing. So
yeah. Love it. Love it. So what's the next step?
Next step. Okay. So another thing I wanted to talk about is, let's see here. So time blocking, planning.
Ooh, I love time blocking.
Yeah.
How do you go about time blocking?
So it's funny because I'm not I think everybody's time blocking looks a little different. And I think it depends on who you are as far as personality wise, how you function, what is effective for you. Cause I truly believe everybody is different. I have a very good friend of mine. She's one of my best friends. And I swear to you, this woman lives by 5 planners, and she has like, from this time to this time, this is what she's doing. From this time to that time, that is what she's doing. And she has like very strategic blocked out time. Now, for me, I am a very easily distracted person. I literally will forget something. I'll go on my phone to do something and I'll forget, what the heck am I doing? Like, I don't even know. I mean, my brain is just going 24/7 so fast that I can't even keep up some days. So I think that for me personally, time blocking, and this, again, maybe you're one of those people that's like, you know what, from 12 to 1 today, I am going to do X, Y, and Z. For me, I time block in very small increments. So let's say I have a couple different things I want to get done for the day around the house, for example. I will say, okay, today I want to mop the floors. Okay. So when my son goes down for a nap, what do I do? All right. I have X amount of time, depending on, if you're doing this at nap time. Every child sleeps. My kid only sleeps an hour, like if I'm lucky. So I'm like, okay, I have 1 hour to get sweeping and mopping done. So I'll give myself, and I know it only takes like 20 minutes. So I'm like, okay, let's drill in, put a timer on, and I'm going to do that thing and focus on just that thing and not allow myself to get distracted. So I put my phone down, put it away, do whatever, so that I am super laser focused on whatever it is I'm trying to accomplish in that block of time. And I'm very big on giving yourself that grace to know, especially as a mother, that it may not always work out exactly how you mapped out for the day. Mm-hmm. So sometimes putting a quick timer on and saying, you know what, the dishes are out of control. 10 minutes, let's let him watch the iPad or TV or whatever. For 10 minutes, I'm going to put on a timer. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to go tackle the dishes. And blocking out those small increments. And again, that's different for everybody, but that's worked wonders for me as far as trying to get myself to focus in on doing whatever the thing is. And it makes me feel so good because usually, 10 or 15, 20 minutes for most tasks, small tasks, is very doable. So then you've now crushed a goal, you feel accomplished, you feel good that those things are done. And now you can do, either the next thing or enjoy time with your child or, whatever it is that you want to get done for that day.
I love the fact that, because I, when it comes to self-care, with my ladies inside my paid program, putting a timer on is definitely something that I recommend as well. So I really, really appreciate that. And, removing all other distractions, 1000%, where it's like, I'm going to be super focused on this one thing. In fact, there's a book that I know you would appreciate, literally called The One Thing.
Oh,
and yes. I'm like trying to read I have it right in my bookshelf here. Keller is the last name, I think, of the writer, but I'll send that to you and we'll add that in the copy up above. But similar to what you practice, and I'm sure what you coach your ladies to do, where we focus on what are your top 3 priorities? The top 3 priorities that when you check it off, I love doing this, scratching it off
Yes.
When you get it done, no matter what it is, it could be like you said, it could be mopping your floor. It doesn't matter what it is. When you cross that off, you feel so accomplished, and you go to bed putting your head on the pillow at night feeling good that you got something done. And so I really appreciate the zero in focus. I really appreciate putting the timer on. And like you said, once it's done, then you can fully be present in your relationships, because you're not worrying or feeling guilty or feeling anxious about all the other things that you didn't get accomplished. So I love it. I love that.
Oh yeah, so good. And I love what you were saying about like the writing and checking off. So that's something that I do, and again, some people, need to have, let's say, those top 3 things. I literally write down the smallest to do. So I live in color. I tell everybody this. I'm like, I joke around and I'm like, I swear to you, my brain is like ADHD, because I live in color. I love just having, I so scattered sometimes. So what I do is, and I'll forget, like I will literally go to bed. If I don't write it down, I will go to bed and go, what did I do today? Did I eat? Like sometimes there have been times in my journey of motherhood, I had to literally write it down, eat lunch, eat, do this, do that, because I literally it would slip my mind. And before you knew it, I was like, oh my gosh, I ate one thing today. Mm-hmm. And no wonder my hormones were all over the place, but that's for another discussion. Anyways, so one thing that I love doing is I actually have I ordered these colorful sticky notes, neon colors, because you can't miss them. I stick them on my kitchen counter because I'm always in my kitchen. And I put a squiggly line down the middle. On one side, I put personal. On the other side, I put business. And I will literally I personally write down more than 3 things, because my to-dos are I break them down very, very small. So it might be vacuum. I know that's not going to take me, because of how I've timed my time blocked and timed my duties. I know that's not going to take me 2 hours. I know vacuuming will take me a whole 15 minutes, maybe. So if I just stick to that and not get distracted, right? So I will put down whatever it is I want to accomplish for that day in my personal side, and then also my business side. And my business side might literally be just as small as follow up with one customer, or follow up with one client, ask them how they're doing. It might be ship out that item, or something very, very small, so that as I accomplish those things throughout the day, like you said, I cross them off and check them off. I did that. So at the end of the night, I look at my sticky note, and there's so much satisfaction in seeing all the things that I had accomplished. And this, again, might sound a little silly, but if you're anything like me, you kind of forget what you did. So now when I have that conversation with my husband, like, hey, what did you do today? Today, like if it's a day that I'm off, at the end of the night, we'll be talking, and I'm like, oh, well, I did, hold on, this, and this. I got all these things done today for my personal, and then for my business, this is what I got done today, and it's great because it helps me remember. And then there's also that like pat on the back, like, you know what? Okay, I did do these things today, and I didn't just let the day go to waste. And I feel good because I was able to cross it off.
Yes. I appreciate that too, because too many women, we don't recognize or honor the small wins. And we're so hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
We're so, I always say with my members and my clients, like, isn't it funny that when you get together with a girlfriend that you haven't seen in a long time, it is rare that you will just share each other and celebrate each other's wins and all the things, the good things and blessings that are happening to your life. We go right into all the bad things and complaining and whining. And, it's so interesting as well for us as women. We, very rarely feel accomplished, very rarely feel what we did was good enough, or give ourselves that little pat on the back. We're so hard on ourselves. And so what I love is that, again, that you literally write down your wins and you share your wins, which is just as important. Inside our group, we literally have our ladies share 3 daily wins before they end their day. And it's so important to do that, because like you said, and what I love about your process is that there are small daily steps that you make sure that you get done. It doesn't have to be big, but those small daily habits, those small daily steps add up to really big wins. So that's, again, really, really good stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like you said, I think just women naturally, and then when you become a mother, it's like a whole new level of not being good enough in the things that you're doing. You know what? Just so you know, there are floors not getting mopped out there. So if you got the floor mopped, good for you.
Yes, 1000%.
Yeah. Celebrate that. Be excited for yourself that you were able to figure out how to make your day work, keeping a human alive and getting the floor mopped.
Amen. Yes.
That's amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I would say the last thing that I'd like to touch on is creating systems and habits for yourself. So a lot of people freak out and it's like, oh my gosh, I got to create this habit. When you think of habit, you're like, oh my God, I got to do something for 30 days and it's going to be so hard. And so, we're like, when you think of a, you can probably relate to this with clients. It's like changing your eating. Like we're not talking like super dramatic. Okay, you're cutting out, 20 million things. Like let's back up a little bit. Let's reverse engineer some of this. For me, my first habit, one of the first habits that I started with, and it sounds very simple and maybe it's silly, but I didn't make my bed. I stopped making my bed. So I would put that on my list every single day. For I don't remember how long it was, if it was 30 days or less or more, but now I make it every day without even writing it down because I did it until I could just do it. That's a 2-minute habit. Not even, maybe a minute. It takes a minute to make a bed, depending on how fancy your bed is.
And how many pillows you have.
Exactly. How many pillows and blankets you have on your bed. Okay. But for me, walking into my room when the bed is made,
yes,
aesthetically, I'm a very aesthetic visual person. And for me, I feel so good.
Yes.
Just to have a bed made. And it takes me 2 minutes. And so putting systems in place, and my systems are the sticky notes. My systems are my planner. My systems are writing things down, having a habit tracker, like, little things that I enjoy doing. And I had to really discover, like, what is it about me that makes me tick, right? What is it about my personality that helps me create those habits and do things, but not in a, I got to do this kind of way. Like, oh, this is exciting. I got to write on my colorful sticky note with my colorful pens and blah, blah, blah. So that is something that I think is super, super important is, being intentional about, okay, let's figure out what makes you tick so that you can create systems and habits in your life, in your motherhood journey, and really start conquering those little things, because that's where it starts. You can't expect to have a fully clean house without starting with one small thing, one habit, right? It's gonna take time to get to that rhythm and build that momentum of like having a flow of how to do all the things throughout the week and throughout the day. And it's a learning curve, and you have to pivot a lot as a mom. So that's
I love that. I think it was there's I don't know if he's an ex-Navy, I think, and he's like a motivational speaker, David Goggins, I think his name is. And I remember listening to one of his interviews, and he said, one of the things that he learned in the Army or in the Navy was, number one, make your bed first thing in the morning.
Yep.
And it really, like you said, it starts your day on the right foot. And you've trained your mind that this is a habit that's important to me. And the reward is, like you said, when you go to bed at night, it's like, it's so pleasing to the eye. You want to get in it's like going to a hotel, right? You see this beautiful made up, bed, and you just want to just jump right in it and have a great sleep. Same thing when you're at home. It's a lot more appealing when you're about to go to bed and it's all done beautiful. And you're like, wow, I'm going to have a great night's sleep. And it's a nice reward. And that's one of the things that we also kind of teach when making habits. There's another book called Atomic Habits by James Clear, right? Yes. And he teaches habit stacking, which is, okay, so you have a habit that you already constantly do without fail. So you've made, making your bed now a habit that is unconscious. And so he says, okay, so if there's another habit, say for example, you wanted to get like a quick, 10-minute workout in, the best time to do it would be immediately after you've made your bed, because you've already that making your bed is already natural to you. So that's how you start a new habit called habit stacking. And then once you've accomplished that, you reward yourself. And maybe that reward is having like a nice cup of coffee, right? So yeah, right. So this is the thing. I love that that you made that habit a part of your morning ritual, because I do think it's super important. And I love that you were consistent. And you're absolutely right. With our clients, it's all about consistency. And one of the things that we teach is when you're adapting any habit, this is actually what is his name? Oh my goodness, his another motivational speaker. He was quoted saying, when you are adapting habits, at first it is unbearable, especially the first 10 days. Then the next 10 days it's uncomfortable. But then once you get through those 10 days, you're going to be unstoppable. And that's exactly what happened to you. So yeah, kudos. Love it.
Yeah. It was, I'm like, I was trying to think, I remember when I was like, okay, I'm going to start, incorporating, like, how can I just make my bed? Because it sounds, again, it's one of those things where I will walk out of my room. I will get caught up doing the things. I'll walk back into the room and go, oh, I got to make the bed. But then something happens and I walk away to the closet. Like literally, that is just.
I can see your brain. Squirrel.
Yes, it is like that dog and the squirrel all the time. And so for me, I have to be very strategic in how I, attack the things that I want to do. And I make it fun for myself and I write it down. And there's some type of, I do believe there's some type of like psychological thing that happens too. Like you said, when you, that's part of when he talks about making the bed in the morning, there's something psychological that happens with accomplishment and how it triggers something in our brains. Yes. So I'm not that person to understand how that works, but I know that there is something tied to how your brain is wired. And that is part of that satisfaction and just that, creating that good habit for yourself. And so, yeah, I think that's, if you aren't making your bed, start with that.
Yes, exactly. What a great place to start. I really think so too. So are there any last little bits of tips in terms of how to stay focused, especially for someone who is easily distracted?
So I want to say that, mindset is a big key. And so when all this happened, I actually had hired a mindset coach. And
good for you.
One of the biggest things that I took away, it was actually right before I hired her, I was like, oh my gosh, like this sounds like it should be known, but taking radical responsibility for your results.
Yes. So
knowing that, we all have the same amount of time in our day. We all have a form of busy, even if you're not a mom, that doesn't mean you're not busy. I was busy before I was a mother. And I was busy as a mother. I was busy before I got married. After I got married, I was still, it was a different kind of busy. And so I have to take responsibility for my life and the decisions that I make day to day. And, you go back to evaluating, what am I actually doing throughout the day? Like, do I have time, or is it that I'm utilizing my time in a way, or am I getting distracted 24/7? For me, it was a lot of just distraction. Like I was just getting distracted by everything. And, the phone was a big part of that. And social media was a big part of that. All the distractions that we have, on our phones, all that good stuff. Taking responsibility for my results was one of the biggest mind shifts for me. And I think that's so important because, we want to naturally, and that's just how our brains work, right? We naturally want to be like, I don't have enough time, or I can't do this, or I can't do that because, and we come up with some excuse because we have not been able to establish whatever it is we're trying to accomplish, right? Whether that's cleaning the house, running your business, starting the business, whatever it is. So taking radical responsibility for your results and mentally accepting and knowing that is, you have to start there. You have to start by taking responsibility for your life and the things you want to do and create, even down to making your bed.
Yes.
We all have time for that. I'm sorry, but that is one thing I will not like. It takes 3 to 5 minutes.
Yes.
We all have time for that.
I just want to honor you for two things that you just shared, which is number one, that you hired a mindset coach. So, there's so many women who are like, what is a mindset coach? But this is the thing, that extra layer of accountability and your coach helping you take radical responsibility and, be straight up with you and be like, Sara, enough with the excuses, right? This is, this is your life's purpose. Let's go. Right? Let's get laser focused. So I really appreciate, because I truly believe coaches need coaches. I have a coach for everything.
Yeah.
Right? Everything. And it only makes you a better leader. It makes you a better coach and an inspiration to your daughter. Right? So awesome. 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 So can we recap the 4 tips?
Yeah. So let me pull out my list. So evaluating, it's funny because I actually came up with is it acronym? I don't know if that's the right word. So REACT is what I go by. So R is for recognize the identity you've taken and accepted. So stepping back, pausing, recognizing where you're at and where you want to be, or is it who you truly are, or are you just, have you taken on some identity? In my case, it was hot mess. I was a hot mess mom. This is how life is going to be. E is for evaluate where you want to be and who you need to be to get there. So evaluating everything in your life and, your faith, your family, your friends, your fun, finances, all the things, right? There's 7 F's that I go by, and, having to sit down and evaluate those things. And then also evaluating kind of just your day, and take a couple days to just step back and breathe and say, okay, what am I actually doing throughout the day? And just being intentional, just mentally being intentional and paying attention to what's happening throughout your day, right? And then A is for actively create habits that will start to change your current beliefs about yourself and your circumstances. So start to create those habits, or start writing down, if you're somebody like you and I, right? Write those things down. Like, what are some habits that you would like to see in your daily life? Or weekly routine or monthly routine, whatever that looks like in your personal and your business life. Or if you don't have a business and it's just personal, just do it for your personal. That's fine too. C is for create a short-term and long-term game plan to put into consistent action. So really, writing out whether, or maybe it's putting it on your phone, maybe it's writing. I like to write things down. So you're going to hear me say, write it out a lot, but writing out my short-term game plan, what I want to see in my personal and business life in the short term, whether that's the next 6 months or next year, to a little bit of a longer term plan, right? So maybe the next 5 years, and find and reverse engineer that. So you have those small habits and things that you want to create, right? So that's going to kind of flow into creating that short and long-term plan. And then T is what we just talked about. So take responsibility, radical responsibility for your results. Just remember and know that this is your life and you have the ability to control. And I say that in a positive way, not a negative way, but there are things that are in our control. And, if we take responsibility for our results and we know mentally and we accept that and say, you know what, I am in charge of me and I have been, I've been given these gifts and talents and all these things, and God has deposited that into me for a reason. So take responsibility to utilize and work towards whatever it is you were created and designed for, or the things that you want to accomplish as a mother, but also as you. That's so, so important to really just remember that you're not just a mom. I get to be Sara. You get to be Crystal, outside of that. And you're made for so much more. It's, again, blessing to be a mother, and it's such an honor. But you were made for greatness and created to do so much more than you probably ever imagined. So take responsibility for that and know that you can do these things and really rediscover and kind of work towards these bigger and greater things that you were designed for already. So
good, Sara. So I love asking my guests 2 questions to wrap up our interview. So my first question, which I probably already know the answer, but I still want you to share, who inspires you?
Oh, gosh, and maybe this is a silly answer. Everybody inspires me. I think.
I love it.
I think so I'm very faith-based, obviously. Like Jesus is my main man, right? Like just reading, getting in the word, that's something that I've had to work on with habits is, getting in the word, my prayer walk, all these different things, right? So learning about what Jesus says about us, like that inspires me to a whole new level, right? But my friends, my husband, my mother, my dad, like all the people in my life, I think have all these amazing natural gifts that specifically were given to them. And there are some things that I am not strong in that my husband is like crushing it in just naturally. And that is a gift that's been given to him. So that inspires me because I'm like, wow, like that's amazing. Like, oh, I want to be better in this area, So honestly, like I could give you a list for days of people that inspire me because it's everybody I come in contact with. I intentionally am like, wow, I look for, wow, they're really amazing at X, Y, and Z. And that inspires me just to better and better and better.
That is not a silly answer. That's a great answer. I love that you're inspired by everyone. That's an awesome answer. My last question is, what is the legacy you want to leave?
Oh man, that's a deep one. Okay. Ooh, let's see. Well, I think, I do think it's evolved over time. And as seasons have changed in my life of the legacy, that I envision in my mind of leaving in this life. But I want to leave this life knowing that and being confident that I walked out everything that God has designed me for. And I want my son to know and see that I worked hard for it, but I also leaned on, my family and my faith. And I really was able to, I'm trying to think of the right words to describe. I want to make sure that he sees that I didn't just survive. I want to make sure that he sees that his mom has big dreams and desires, and God has created every single one of us for something greater and beyond our wildest imagination. And that I really pushed for that while also, working towards being a better person every single day of my life. And I think that's, I think it's constantly evolving. Before I had my son, it was, my dreams and desires and things looked a little different. But, after having my son, I want to make sure he sees that I'm working towards that. And then I strive to be better in, all these different areas and find that balance because, at the end of the day, it is really about balance in so many areas. And I want to make sure that I walk out, God has given us all these amazing opportunities and things, quote unquote, in our lives. And I want to make sure that I fulfill all of those. And I want to not miss the mark. You know what I mean? So yes. I'm constantly looking and having those conversations like, all right, what's next? Like, what do you got for me? I'm here for it. I'm ready, and walking through all those, whatever, those seasons, those trials, and even the hard stuff, like walking through that hard stuff, but really finding the grace and the silver lining in those hard seasons and walking out of that better than before.
Ooh, that gave me chills, Sarah. I have a good feeling, and God only knows, but I have a good feeling he's going to say to you when your time comes, well done, my good and faithful child. So, so good. Sarah, thank you. Thank you so much for being a guest on the Get Crystallized Show. You are such a blessing. You are being used, girl. And I am so excited to hear more about the lives that I know you're going to touch. So if my women and our audience here wants to find out more about you, where they can hang out with you, where should they go?
So right now I am in the works of getting my website up and going, but right now you can connect with me on Facebook. It's Sara Jimenez. Make sure you put the middle name in because apparently there's a lot of Sara Jimenez's out there. But you can find me on Facebook or you can find me on Instagram, Balanced Life with Love. It's all
Balanced Life with Love. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Balanced Life with Love. Or if you want to just email me directly and we can connect through there, you can email me at SaraAnnJ6@gmail. That's SaraAnnJ6@gmail.com.
Perfect. And I'll make sure to put that in the copy as well, so that if there are any of you ladies who want to connect with Sara and you resonate with her and you're looking for a life coach, she is your girl. So thank you. Thank you so much, Sara, for your words of wisdom, for all the nuggets, for sharing your personal story. And I'm just excited for what the Lord is going to unfold for you. So thank you once again for being a guest, and I hope to have you again.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm so honored I was able to be here today, and I appreciate it so, so much. Thank you again.
All right, girls, thank you so much. And we'll see you on the next episode. Have a great day, everyone.